Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our Train the Trainer event today. My name is Ayana Jones. I work for the CollegeBound Foundation. Our topic today is winning scholarships. We have a great panel of folks here lined up for us. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm the Director of Training here at CollegeBound Foundation. Previously, I worked at Stevenson University in the Department of Financial Aid. And for the last 9 years, I've worked here at the CollegeBound Foundation. We are so lucky to have not only the CollegeBound Foundation, but also Horatio Alger, the Featherstone Foundation, the Thurgood Marshall Foundation, among lots of other guests here to meet with us and tell us about winning scholarships. So without further ado, I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves as they appear on the screen. Jennifer, I'm gonna allow you to go first, and then I'll pull up the slides.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Kovahay. I am the Director of College Success at the CollegeBound Foundation. I've been at CollegeBound for 12 years. So good morning. Thank you for being here.
Ms. Berry, did you want to go next?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Berry. I'm with Baltimore Metropolitan Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. We are a community service organization, and we give out scholarships each year, a scholarship being one of our main focuses.
Thank you so much. And I'm just going to go ahead now and continue by sharing my screen. All right, CollegeBound, you are up first.
So good morning again. Ayana, you can go to the next slide.
Yes.
So CollegeBound Foundation, we offer over $4 million in scholarships to Baltimore City public high school students. That portfolio is made up of over 90 individual named awards, and over 200 students can win the awards. So we host scholarships from like M&T Bank, Constellation, Mariner Finance, the Baltimore Ravens, just to name a few. And then we have a lot of individual donors as well. So next slide. So for competitive scholarships and our college completion program, both are open currently for seniors to apply to. They have until March 1st for our competitive scholarship application, and until June 1st for our college completion program. I'll talk about the competitive scholarships first. Students have to submit a transcript, a resume, at least one letter of recommendation, and they may also be required to submit an essay or a student aid report as well if it's a need-based scholarship. Those awards range from $500 to $20,000 renewable and non-renewable awards. For a college completion program, that's the biggest part of our scholarship portfolio. And we give this year for seniors, we're giving out 225 seniors a space in our college completion program. And those awards range from $500 to $3,000, and it's all based off a need. So if the student only needs $500, that's what they'll get. If they need $3,000, we'll give the $3,000. It's renewable for up to 6 years, because I'm sure many of you know, college graduates take about 5.5 years to graduate. So we want to make sure that we're covering them throughout their whole need of college. For this program, students must be Baltimore City public high school students. They must be Pell Grant eligible when entering. They must be planning to attend a 4-year college. And the reason for that is all of our students are given a CollegeBound advisor to help them through college, and we want to make sure that we have access to them, because our advisors go to the campus once or twice a semester to check in on them, to see how they're doing, see what their classes are like, social emotional, how financial aid is setting in. So students of the college completion program also get enrichment workshops throughout the year. They get that advisor I just mentioned. We have a peer mentor program for our freshmen and sophomores, and then we have an adult mentor program for our juniors and seniors. And that program, we graduate 75% of our students, which is higher than the national average for students, but which is 71%, but also much higher than Baltimore City Public High School students who go into college without college completion. Their graduation rate is just over 50%. So our program is proven to work, and so we're trying to get, the goal is to eventually serve all students going to four-year colleges, but right now 225 seniors will be able to get into that program. When winning our scholarships, the most important part for the competitive scholarship, I always tell students, is the resume. The resume is where we pull most of our points for our rubric. So our rubric, our score ranges are anywhere from 40 to 50 points. And on the 40 point rubric, 20 points come from the resume. And on the 50-point rubric, 25 points are pulled from the resume. So that resume is where we see achievement, where we see leadership, where we see extracurricular activity, where we see meaning like sports and jobs and all of that stuff, where we see also how they've given back to their community, which is all a part of our rubric. The essay is only 5 points. The letter of recommendation is only 5 points. So these things that sometimes students think hold higher weight don't. It's really that resume that holds a lot of weight. As far as our competitive our college completion program, it's purely need-based. So we do not need a recommendation or a resume or an essay. Students just have to be going to a four-year college, apply, and want to be in the program and need the financial support and be Pell Grant eligible. Next slide. I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much. That was really informative. Miss Stephanie Berry, again, is here from the Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, and she's here to tell you about what they have to offer.
Yes, we have a scholarship and book grants. Next, we have one renewable scholarship for $8,000, and that is $2,000 a year, $1,000 per semester. The basic only requirement is that you must be, in order to keep the scholarship, you must be registered full-time, 12 credits, and you must maintain a 2.75 grade point average. The requirements: you must live in Baltimore City and attend a school located in the city. So either the public school or another school that's in the city. You have to complete the electronic application. After COVID, previously we had everything mailed in, but after COVID, we moved to the electronic application. I think most people learned how to keep functioning during that time. You need to have your counselor submit or school officials submit the transcript directly to the email address. And the student must submit all attachments as one packet electronically to the chapter website, which is on the application. Okay, the essay should be no longer than 1 page. There are 2 letters of reference from a school official, a wallet-sized photo, and then, was there anything else on that? No. Okay. That's it. This is a copy of the a flyer, and it has a QR code that could go directly to the application.
All right. And Ms. Berry, talk to us about any areas of deficiency or any areas where you see maybe the student's application could have been stronger, they could have been a good candidate for this scholarship, but they ended up not receiving it.
A lot of times, depending on, if we're giving out one scholarship, and we do end up giving out some book grants, but we don't advertise that because we can't tell how many there will be. And it depends on fundraising efforts. But a lot of times students just don't follow directions. It says a one-page essay, so that doesn't mean a one-page in one sentence. A lot of times they could just reformat the document so that it's one page. Being on time, of course. Now it's electronic, so that is definitely documented that your documents were in on time. We look at your Baltimore City Schools doesn't have this problem. We look at community service, or you use a different name for it, but it's on the transcript.
Yeah, service learning.
So for most Baltimore City students, that is not a problem. And if the essay asks you to write on a certain subject, don't just send in the stock essay that you have written for all your colleges. Write on the subject area that is requested. Those are things that, if not eliminate, will get students a lower score.
Great, thank you. That's really valuable information. I appreciate that. So definitely, to your point, definitely be on time. So what I hear you saying, if you're not on time, you're going to get eliminated, immediately. So that's really a good point. Juliana, thank you so much for joining us. You are here from the William and Linnea C. Featherstone Foundation. If you're able to introduce yourself and then tell us a bit about what you all have to offer.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ariana. Thank you for the invitation. So happy to be here this morning. My name is Juliana Lopez. I'm the Executive Director here at the Featherstone Foundation. I've been in the foundation in different capacities, starting from alumni from one of the programs, and then in different positions throughout the past years. Here in the Featherstone Foundation, you can go next, Ariana, please. Our mission is to serve our underrepresented and underserved communities, and to provide sustainable solutions to bridge that the opportunity divide among those communities. And we envision a world where we serve communities that are in need of equal access. You can go next. We have a global reach. We all have focused always from the beginning our immigrant community, and now recently we have opened different programs to support our first generation students. Next. Our community and the people that we serve that are underserved and unrepresented communities come from anywhere in the world, and they land here in Baltimore City, Maryland, looking for opportunities. So we have helped people all the way from South America, Central America, Africa, Asia, Europe, that are here in need of help. And next, please. All our programs are for people from low to moderate incomes, and we have two pillars. And today I'm going to focus on college and career readiness. And their college and career readiness, we have internships and scholarships. And their global workforce, we have workforce development, digital equity, and financial education. As I mentioned, next, please. As I mentioned, the focus today, of course, is scholarships. We have awarded more than $230,000 in 90 different scholarships to students from 20 different countries. And here in Maryland, on more than 12 institutions. Next, please. These are the winners of 2022. Last year, we had a $90,000 college scholarship fund, and we awarded 30 students of $3,000 scholarship for each student. Next, please. This year, until now, until the date, we have 27 awards of 3,000 each. And we divide our scholarships per university since we have partnerships directly with those universities. So we have for University of Baltimore students that are enrolled, 10 scholarships. For Coppin State University, we have 9, and they need to be enrolled in Coppin State University. 6 for Morgan State University, and 2 awards for any year university. But this is the catch. For this scholarship that is called the IORIS scholarship, they need to be Baltimore City students, high school seniors that are graduating that want to go to any university. So we have 2 scholarships for those. Next, please. Yes. We can go, oh no, I think I can explain your question here. I have a question here in the chat that says, do they have to enroll at those institutions? And the answer is yes. So if they are enrolled in Baltimore, the University of Baltimore, they can apply to this one specifically, and we have 10 available. If they are applying to Coppin State University, they can apply to the Coppin State University scholarship, and we have 9 available. If they're going to Morgan State and they're registered, they can go to Morgan State and apply to that one, and we have 6 available. And any US 4-year college university, that's for any university, any college in the US, but the student needs to be a Baltimore senior registered in a 4-year institution, of higher education, right? 4-year higher education institution. But it can be any university. The only requirement is that they are a Baltimore City public student. You can go next, please. And this is the criteria. So the scholarships are open to underrepresented communities or those with economic challenges to higher education. So we will check the income, family income or individual income. We will check the SAT or ACT scores. They have to have a 3.0 grade GPA. And the scholarships are open to high school seniors that are enrolled in a higher institution, current undergraduate students, graduate students, or transfer students. They need to have involvement in extracurricular activities, complete essays in our application. So they will go to this link, they will complete all their information, and in this same link, they will add their essays. There are 3 different essays. We will check also references, letter of references. We don't have a limit. They can submit 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Yeah, so the only thing that we check for these scholarships is that they're enrolled in a university. We don't check anything else. So either they're documented or not, we don't know. The only thing that we check is with the university that they are enrolled in the specific university they stated. So let's say there is a student, I don't know the background, they can be undocumented or not. They are applied to the University of Baltimore, and they say they are enrolled. We will go and check that they are truly enrolled, and we determine eligibility based on that. We don't ask for anything else. Thank you. That was a good question. The essays, they need to be enrolled, as I mentioned, and the winners are expected to attend to an award ceremony, and this year is going to be in person. We have had it online for the past 3 years, so we are happy to be back in person with this event, and the application deadline that is very important is March 10. March 10, next, please. And these are specifics of each scholarships, right? For the University of Baltimore, again, we have 10 open to all majors. Next one, please. This one is Coppin. For Coppin State University, the scholarships are divided based on the schools or colleges. So We have 3 for the College of Business, 2 for the College of Art and Science and Education, 2 for Health Professions, and 2 for Behavioral and Social Sciences. So CollegeBound likes to divide the scholarships based on their 4 schools, and they need to be enrolled in one of them. Next one, please. Morgan State University is open to all majors, and we have 6 awards. Next, please. And the Eurias E. Parker Scholarship was created on the name of the teacher Eurias E. Parker that worked at Baltimore City Public School for many, many years, and she unfortunately passed away from cancer. The family created this scholarship on her name, and this is the scholarship specifically for Baltimore City Public School students that are attending to any 4-year institution in the US. And I'm sorry for that. And one of them, they will receive an internship with Fulton Bank. We have a partnership with Fulton Bank, and one of the students that qualify, they will receive a paid internship at Fulton Bank. Next one, please. And the takeaway, please share this with our community, with the students. Any penny counts, I'm sure you know. And we have many students out there that are looking for resources, and we are happy to review their applications. Again, the application deadline is March 10. And I ask you to please share it. If you are in social media, share it in social media. Next, please. We have accounts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and we have all our information in our social media channels. If you go to our profiles, you will see specifics for each scholarship. Actually, we have specific events on Facebook when the deadline is for each scholarship. So I'll ask you to please share it. If you have any questions, please email me. My first name is Maria, so don't get scared for the email. I go by my middle name, Juliana. Don't call me Maria, please. Tell me anytime. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's really great information for us to gather, especially being aware that these can be utilized by students who are underdocumented or undocumented. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. So next we have Ms. Donna Neiman. She is from Horatio Alger Association for Distinguished Americans, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell about what they have to offer.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here with you all. My name is Donna Neiman, and I'm a Scholar Services Coordinator with the Horatio Alger Association. I was also a recipient of the Horatio Alger Nebraska State Scholarship in 2004, so I'm also an alum of the association. Very proud of it. The Horatio Alger Association of Distinguished Americans is a nonprofit educational organization. It was established in 1947 to dispel the mounting belief among our nation's youth that the American dream was no longer attainable. So the Horatio Alger Association is dedicated to the simple but powerful belief that hard work, honesty, and determination can conquer all obstacles. In addition to honoring the achievements of outstanding leaders who have accomplished remarkable successes in spite of their adversity by bestowing upon them the Horatio Alger Award, and then inducting them as life members, the association supports promising young people with resources and confidence needed to overcome their adversity and pursue their dreams through higher education. Since the establishment of this scholarship in 1984, the Horatio Alger Association has become one of the largest need-based scholarship providers in the United States and Canada. By the association's 76th anniversary this year, we anticipate having awarded a total of $235 million in scholarships to more than 35,000 deserving students. You can change to the next slide. The biggest change in the scholarship programs is that last year we started awarding to high school juniors. And in general, we offer 3 main awarding categories: scholarships for university-bound students, These are our state and national level scholarships valued at $10,000 or for the state scholarships and $25,000 for the national scholarships. The state and national scholarships are awarded to students planning to obtain a bachelor's degree at a four-year school. They are able to attend a two-year college first, but they must have plans to transfer to a four-year college and complete their degree. Then we have targeted scholarships that vary in award amounts, and they really depend on what the student is planning to study and where the student plans to go to college. For example, one of the targeted scholarships is for students that are planning to enter Santa Clara University specifically. So they are very targeted. Then the third category is the career and technical scholarships awarded in the amount of $2,500. And the career and technical scholarships are awarded to students pursuing career and technical degrees that have programs that could be 1, 2, or 3 years in order to complete it. And these scholarships are broken down so the scholar can request funds each year of school. So they're renewable scholarships. The scholar is allowed to use their scholarship for up to 6 years. The state and national scholarship application opens up December 1st each year and then closes March 15th. Most of the targeted scholarships have a deadline of March 15th as well, but they open a little bit later, February 1st. And then the career and technical scholarships open up March 15th and close June 15th each year. I saw there was a question there, and I'll get to that in a second. And then what makes Horatio Alger different is we don't just give scholarship funds and then hope the student succeeds. We have an array of services to help guide the student towards success. Some of the services include mental health support with a company called ComPsych. And then the scholar is able to schedule up to 8 free sessions with a licensed mental health professional per issue per year. The scholar can contact ComPsych for help in finding childcare, housing searches, seeking financial assistance, finding pet care, any credit issues, eviction or lease issues, credit card management, and financing for college, just to name a few issues that they can contact ComPsych for. We also have the scholars complete a college success program that helps prepare them for college. So this program includes 90-minute sessions once per month during their senior year, since they are awarded the scholarship their junior year. And the meetings are on various topics that help prepare them for college, such as FAFSA information, finding the right match and fit for college, and finding other outside scholarships as well. The association also provides an externship program to help the scholar gain some experience and knowledge of the career they're interested in before graduation. And then there are scholar services coordinators such as myself that help support the scholar in a variety of ways during their academic journey. And even after graduation, we stay in contact with the students. We can support scholars academically by providing financial aid counseling and college selection advising, providing personal and wellness support with referral services and networking, and professional support with career advising and online career success seminars. So we can help the scholars apply for emergency funds with the association if deemed necessary, and if it falls within the guidelines of our emergency funds. We're happy to help students, to support the students with whatever needs they have and removing obstacles for them to be able to be successful and work towards their goals. This slide is just a flyer that we have given out to high schools across the country and nonprofit organizations to help promote the scholarship. So it's got a little bit more information about eligibility. It's kind of hard to read on there, but some of the main eligibility requirements for the scholarships is that the students must be a full-time high school junior. Some of the targeted scholarships, the students are allowed to be seniors, and they need to have a low income as defined by having an annual gross income, household income of $55,000 or less. And then they also must be a US citizen in order to apply for these scholarships. We also look at students' activities and see if they participate in community service activities. And the essay is largely surrounded by how the students have faced their adversities and overcome them, and what they plan to do with their future, and what their American dream is. So as you talk to students about this scholarship, it's really important to push the importance of sharing their story and what they plan to do with their adversity moving forward. So applying for scholarships, some tips, just make sure that you submit the application. I know it might sound obvious, but people that apply are the exception and not the norm. When I was applying for scholarships in high school, I almost did not apply for the Horatio Alger Scholarship because I thought the amount was too high and my grades weren't good enough. But my mom told me that I knew 100% that I wouldn't get the scholarship if I didn't apply. So I'm just very thankful that I listened to my mom. And I live in the state of Nebraska, and the Horatio Alger Association usually awards around 50 state scholarships in Nebraska. And last year, only about 30 scholarships were awarded because there weren't enough applicants. So just submit the application as the first step. That's a lot of money that just sits around waiting to be given out. Another tip for applicants is to use the whole application. So lay out what you'd like to get across and make sure that you can fit those points in the different answers that you need to provide. Other tips to help the application stay away from the no pile include proofreading. Spelling mistakes usually are the first indicator that the application was rushed. Make sure to check grammar. We're hoping that we can provide you a scholarship for college. So that means that in addition to overcoming adversity, we need to also see that you're ready for the academic rigor of college. And then use whatever space you need within the limits to get your whole story across. Try your best to tell the whole picture of your story. You may need to edit multiple times to fit the maximum word count. Referencing outside people helps. So having a mentor or an adult figure that is not a family member or a friend is best as finding a reference for your adversity, because you do, with this scholarship, you do need to have somebody verify your adversity. And then illustrate your adversity. Often what we see in the application is, it was rough, I got through it, I'm going to succeed. So however, this is not the whole story, and you need to illustrate your whole journey. So sadly, that often includes the hardships you faced. Do not rely on your letters of reference to tell your story. People that provide reference letters are some of the greatest people in the world. Oftentimes word gets out that you provide letters of recommendation, and sometimes when you provide a lot of reference letters, the letters become kind of formulaic. So now no scholarship group is going to fault a reference provider, but as I mentioned, they are some of the most wonderful people in the world. So, however, you cannot expect them to tell your whole story. In particular, they face two main challenges. They do not know the whole story because you might not have shared it with them. And they might not feel comfortable sharing your whole story. So if you're writing about members of an organization or a civic leader that the organization you are applying to has asked you to write about, you need to do your research. A lot of times, each year, the Horatio Alger Association asks a scholar to write an essay about one of the members of the association. And so we want students to do their research and make sure that they understand what they're writing about and not do the 30-second Wikipedia search on the person, because you can really tell. Understanding the person you're writing about and putting meaning into sections that organizations are committed to goes a really long way. So this kind of brings me to Gandhi. No one will argue that Gandhi is one of the most influential people of modern time. And every scholarship educator knows this because 3/4 of the quotes provided by applicants to our scholarships are from Gandhi. The challenge with the Gandhi quote is not the quotes themselves, but what follows after the quote. Oftentimes an applicant gets so excited about their quote that they talk about Gandhi and then more about Gandhi and then wrap up their great essay. And through the quote and was a means of leading into their story, they've actually left themselves out of the story. Therefore, make sure that you do tell us your story. Not that you can't start with an inspirational quote, but just make sure that you relate it to your whole story. Make it personal. It's hard to write about ourselves, and a lot of people that start writing about themselves start with I and then move to we. And I don't mean that in the family sense, but everyone here are professionals at what they do. And though we have volunteers that commit countless hours reviewing scholarship applications, they all come from backgrounds in education, social services, etc. You can be personal, you can use your story and know that it remains with just us, and it's not going to be told out on social media or anything. And I've often found that when it came to that one critical piece of sharing your story, sometimes the toughest part, the person's story quickly shifts to, and I got by and I'm ready for college. Unfortunately, that tough part, especially for our scholarships, where it's based on overcoming adversity, the element is critical in if we can help or not. So your application goes a long way with us if you're able to tell about your adversity. Again, for a scholarship group like us, the more information we have about you, the more we can deploy our services. In the last 2 years, the association has moved from a reactive scholarship provider to a proactive scholarship provider, and we use the latest analytics to see how we can help our scholars even before they set foot on campus. Other tips, students can use online platforms such as Discord or Reddit. If you've heard of those platforms, Discord's more of a community-wide communication platform, and people post on Reddit about different products and reviews. So you can use those to not only find out about scholarships, but you can also discuss tips in applying for specific scholarships. Students can follow specific channels on Discord and communicate with others about applying for those scholarships. And then Reddit is also the public forum that's open conversations about applying for scholarships. This can actually be a double-edged sword at times because not every scholarship organization is looking for the same information in their application, and the student could get some advice that doesn't necessarily apply to the scholarship that they're applying for. So the student must keep in mind the specific values and mission of each scholarship organization they're applying to, so they keep their application relevant to that organization. So they must stay organized. When I was applying to scholarships, it helped me to have a few mentors that took the time to look over my scholarship materials before I submitted them. Not only did they encourage me to complete my scholarship applications, but they aided in my overall success so that I was able to get to college. So when I first received the Horatio Alger Scholarship, there were not the extra supports and services that the association has today. So I'm really excited to see even more Horatio Alger Scholars succeed and meet their goals due to all the support that we provide now and the care that they receive from us. So thank you all for your time today. I look forward to answering any questions that might be in the chat.
And Ms. Neiman, thank you so much. We're going to move forward. Last but certainly not least, we have, Ms. Jacqueline Powers. She is from the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, and you're gonna have to pause for one quick moment. If you guys bear with me for one quick second, I'm gonna pull up those slides again. I'm going to share my screen. And Ms. Powers, you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then briefly tell about your unique set of scholarships that you all have through the Thurgood Marshall College Fund.
Certainly. Thank you for the invitation. Good morning. I want to say team because I feel like we bonded over these past few minutes. My name is Jacqueline Powers, but please feel free to call me Jackie. I'm Associate Vice President of Scholarships at the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. I have been with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund for just a little over a year, but prior to joining the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, I was enrollment manager at a public four-year HBCU, Historically Black College in North Carolina. And so just very excited to share with you a little bit about what we have coming down the pipeline and some tips, because we do have a video essay. So I know that sometimes that might not be common, but just wanted to walk through some things that we see that could help really prepare your students. You can move to the next slide. So Thurgood Marshall, we're celebrating 36 years this year, and I couldn't do it without this phenomenal team here on the screen. So I always like to shout out my team. This is the scholarships team that makes everything happen. But in terms of the organization overall, the Thurgood Marshall College Fund carries the legacy of Justice Thurgood Marshall by promoting activities that promote equity, access, diversity to the thousands of students that we service. And we largely service students that attend our public, historically Black colleges and universities, and or our predominantly Black institutions. And so we have some dynamic students in all majors across the board with phenomenal GPAs. And at Thurgood Marshall College Fund, we not only provide scholarships, but we're also providing them access and opportunities like internships. A lot of our students walk away with jobs because of the internships. We build very engaging and interactive programs that champion DEI. So we have a lot of opportunities outside of scholarships that really help prepare this next generation of leaders. Next slide. And so we have 3 categories of scholarships that we are scheduled to open on February 6th. We have our GAP scholarships that, just as the name suggests, they support students that only have a little bit of funding left. And we know that sometimes students can cover and families can cover as much as they can cover, but they may be lacking $1,000. They may be lacking $5,000 or less. And so we have phenomenal partners that we work with, from large and small organizations, Fortune 500s, to small businesses that partner with Thurgood Marshall to provide funding to support those students and helping them complete the degree. So we have our GAP scholarships, we have our access scholarships, which many of us on the line have mentioned. They cover the traditional tuition, fees, room and board. And then we also have programmatic scholarships. And our programmatic scholarships actually are wraparound services. So not only are these students receiving the scholarship funds, but our partners as well as TMCF has stepped up and said, hey, we want to provide extra services. So this looks like mentorship. This looks like professional development, strengths building, capacity building. So we do have those as options. As I mentioned, we are geared up to open our fall wave for funding for the 23-24 academic year on February 6th. And those scholarships will close on March 27th. And I like to tell people, and this is also listed on our application, that timeline normally takes about 10 to 12 weeks from the time of application to the time the scholars are actually selected and awarded. Now, I know that sounds like a very long time frame for some, and believe me, and I know some of you probably are on the receiving end. We get a lot of phone calls checking in on the status, but that's because we do a really great job in our review process and our scoring process. We work with the institutions to verify students' eligibility. We work with our partners to make sure that we're selecting scholars that will, best represent both brands, TMCF as well as the partnership. And so that's why it takes so long. We do have opportunities for incoming freshmen, for high school seniors. And so there are there are different criteria based on the partnership, but for the most part, a lot of our opportunities require a 3.0. You may find some partners that have GPA requirements in the 2.7, 2.8 range, but largely it's 3.0. You must be attending one of our member schools, which again, we support the public HBCUs or PBIs. And I believe in the area closest to you, our member schools are Coppin, Morgan State, Bowie, Howard, because it's in the vicinity, and UGC, and that's in the vicinity. So if you have students that plan on attending those schools in particular, please have them check out tmcf.org. Again, we're positioned right now to open over 100 scholarship opportunities. So please, please, please bookmark tmcf.org on your websites. I've also listed our contact information there in that last slide. Yep, you can advance to the next slide. So as I mentioned, we have a video essay. And the reason why we transitioned to video essays is because with written essays, we found that it was a barrier to application completion. And so since students literally live online, we started to incorporate the video essay. And just highlighting some of the things that you've already heard today, but some tips when you're preparing to enter the video essay portion of our application, because this is a part of our standard online application. Make sure that the eligibility requirements are met. And this may involve a little bit of pre-coaching. I know that when I was a student in high school, I'm trying to remember back that far, I'm not as young as I look, but I was so ambitious, and sometimes because I had so much confidence in myself and so much ambition, I would apply to scholarships even though I didn't meet the criteria. Now, a lot of times for the majority, if not all of our scholarships, the criteria is not flexible at all. And so if you find a student, particularly in the year prior to the application season, that's very ambitious like I was, let's go ahead, be the village and start coaching that student on some things that they can do to increase their GPA, if the GPA is a barrier. If the student has not done what they needed to do in terms of deciding on a school at that time, let's put them on the pathway and give them the steps that they need to utilize so they can make sure that they meet all eligibility requirements. So that's one. I heard a lot about having mentors and having a village, and I believe each and every one of us on this call, we are a part of the village. And it's important for students to have that support team. But I will be honest, I know that sometimes as a member of the village, I might be a little bit overbearing in what I think the students should do. And so it's important for us as the village to be able to balance our passion and our care for students, but not overwhelm them, and actually help ease a little bit of that anxiety, because I'm not sure if you know, but sometimes for some individuals, the application process is stressful. It could bring up a lot of emotions. I heard Donna mention that, she doubted herself and she had to have conversations with her mother to help encourage her to apply. So let's make sure that we're balancing our helicopter parents or helicopter village with some care that meets them on their level. Now, this was something that I found interesting too. So with our video essay, we actually allow students to upload a video of them answering our question. And we have a standard overall question, which is, how will your education impact yourself, your family, and your community? And then sometimes based on the partnership, the partners may have a question specific to their organization, similar but specific. And so as a village member, I had to start familiarizing myself with all of the platforms. Now, the students, they are so tech savvy, and they ended up helping me out a lot, because a lot of the students that actually submit videos, they will record the video, upload it to YouTube, and then they will, share the link with us as a part of the application process. And so platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, Google, Zoom, even Canva, some of the students are getting really creative in the platforms that they're using to create their videos and upload them online so that they can submit that application and have a complete application. So familiarize yourself there, just in case you get any questions from the students. Solid conservative backgrounds are things that I highly recommend, because you don't want to distract from the message. We want to see the student for who they are. We want to be able to, listen and hone in on their response. And you want to make sure that there's nothing distracting in that video. You want to make sure that the lighting is forward facing, because sometimes if the lighting is behind you, it could cast shadows. And so we want you to bring your best face forward. We want those students to shine and look great and feel great and confident. And a lot of times we have ring lights available and things like that. And even if you don't have a ring light, sometimes it helps just to position your camera near your room light or have a lamp there. Business casual or business attire is preferred. And again, in a former life, I was a traffic reporter and I used to sit at a desk. And so I was always business from the waist up, and I might've had on yoga pants from the waist down. Sometimes we see students, and love our students to death, but sometimes we see students submit videos and they have like a t-shirt on or a jersey, but we have to remember, first impressions are lasting impressions. While we don't think any less of you because of your attire, it definitely helps set you apart from the thousands of other students looking for those opportunities. Always, always, always encourage the students to practice before pressing the record. The wonderful thing about our opportunities is that, we give you all of the information up front before you even apply. The eligibility requirements, what the video essay question is, all the details that you need to know. We even sometimes include the partner's website link in the post. And so you could encourage the students to, read up on the partner, make sure that you practice your speech in the mirror. So you can take time to think about, help the student think through the best qualities, because that's what we want to see. It's also helpful to have as a back pocket the funder's mission and their values, and how can we help the students align their personal values and their personal goals with the funder's goals and mission. Because at the end of the day, we all want to see alignment. Our partners are extremely generous, and I'm also happy to say that our partners aren't the type that just give the money. They really love knowing that the scholars that they select are aligned with their organization, and they have touch points also with the students as well. And sometimes internship opportunities become available because of scholarship involvement. So we just want to make sure we coach students in that way. Most of our videos require a 1.5 to 2.5 minute response, but just make sure that you're keeping your time limit in mind. And again, that practice that we mentioned before should help with that. Encourage a conversational response. I always like to tell students, it's just a conversation. Don't be nervous, be yourself, because we really want to be able to see their personality. And last but not least, again, just helping students capture their huge dreams, their current activities, and their passions into a very thoughtful and confident response. And I do have a video link. I don't know if there's enough time, but it is included in the slide. But the video is of a student who I think did a great job of capturing some of the points that we went over here. So if we don't have time to show it now, that is fine. We'll make sure that you get that information. But thank you so much for your time. And again, February 6th, tmcf.org, our fall wave of scholarships will be open. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Powers. We are actually running short on time, and I want to get to some of the questions in the chat, but we will share that out if you allow us to do so. It looks like there was one question in the chat from Jenny. Did you want to unmute and ask your question?
Sure. My question was about the GAP scholarships for Jacqueline. Is that like, let's say the school is meeting their need according to their EFC, but they don't want to borrow, whatever the federal loan. Is it only to meet the gap between the EFC and the total cost, or can it be like covered towards like not taking the federal loans? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And so a lot of our applications are determined based on financial need. We do have some opportunities that actually are not affiliated with need, because we have emergency funds that are available at times as well. Those emergency funds are typically a much smaller dollar amount though. And so it just depends on the partner and what that partner's criteria looks like. But again, largely based on financial need.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that was a lot of information at one time, but it was great information. I'm going to go ahead and just in the last 5 minutes here, open it up to anybody else that has any questions for any of our 5 panel members. And we'll go from there. Any other questions? Okay, I guess I'll go first and ask one last additional question. I do want, and it's going to be for any of the 5 panelists. I do want to ask about anything that stands out in your mind where students may have not put something that would have been like a make or break detail, something that would have kind of put them over the edge for winning the scholarship versus not winning the scholarship. They may be hesitant to put information about, you know, babysitting family members after school, thinking that's not going to be impressive enough to put on that resume or that application.
Yeah, I could take that. I think, Ayana, what you said is exactly it. Students underselling themselves on their resume, really not being able to highlight. We try to tell students, put everything on there that you've done in high school. So we tell students, if you've done 15 college tours, you should put that on there because you didn't have to, right? You didn't have to do 1 college tour, but you chose to go to 15. That shows that you're dedicated and wanting to go to college. If you pick up your siblings after school, you don't have to do that. Maybe your parents make you feel like you have to do it, but technically you could say no. Your parents see that you're responsible. They know that you can take care of their child. So that shows us a lot of great characteristics to help students win awards. So what you just said is exactly right. Students selling themselves short in their resume.
Thank you, that's great, I appreciate that. Any other feedback from any of the other panel members?
I was just going to echo a little bit of what Jennifer was saying, but with our scholarships specifically, one of the essays is having students talk about their adversity. And so a lot of times students, they go through different adversities and they don't think it's a big deal. They're just doing it to survive and they just think that's the way things have to be. So we've noticed with males especially that males kind of downplay their adversities. So it really goes back to kind of having a mentor or a guidance counselor or a teacher at school that can help these students really put more effort into details in their story so that we can get a better picture of what their adversity really looks like. So I think it's really important to encourage students to tell their full story and don't downplay it.
That's excellent. That's good information to have. So as we wrap up, I'm going to do a shameless plug and throw a flyer up on the screen. We are having financial aid nights and days at the Enoch Pratt Library. We are going to be at the central location, the central branch. If you give me 1 second, I'll throw that slide up on the screen. Technology. And there actually will be one today, Wednesday, January 25th from 5 to 7 p.m., as well as Saturday, February 4th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, this is at the Enoch Pratt Library Central Branch. Please, please, please have your students who are trying to complete their FAFSA. This is for high school seniors or any students who are still trying to get that FAFSA completed. and they or their families need additional support. These are FAFSA help sessions in the community. We want to make sure we assist those students. And last but not least, our next Train the Trainer event will be Wednesday, February 8th, and we will be discussing negotiating financial aid award offers. Just as you all spoke about so eloquently, sometimes we want to make sure our students have enough funding, and sometimes we can go back to that institution and see, is there any wiggle room? Is there any additional aid? We know we did the FAFSA based on prior year, but there's something different or significant that has happened since then. So on February 8th, please mark your calendars, tell your friends to come out to our Train the Trainer event about negotiating financial aid award offers here with the CollegeBound Foundation. So as we close, want to just thank our 5 presenters for coming out with us today. And I am going to stop recording now.